Hey, g'day, how are ya? I just bought a DJI Mavic Mini. Hey! Well, just in the last few days here in New Zealand, the DJI Mini SE has been released. It's coming at a cracker price at $509 our currency. That equates to around about this much US dollars. And yeah, as soon as it came out, I bought one. Not only that, I bought the base model. I didn't get the Fly More combo. My gosh, am I crazy or what? The reason I opened by saying is that I bought a DJI Mavic Mini is because I basically have. The DJI Mini SE is essentially a repackaged Mini. It's the first version, only it's been released cheaper. And cheap is always good. But when it compares to the Mini 2, it's just a bit of a leap back because the Mini 2, of course, has got the 4K, it's got the OcuSync 2.0. I mean, it gives you that more confidence, it gives you a greater range, it gives you better resolution than the very drone that I just bought. So why would I do it? You know, I know the call is to buy the Mini 2. I know the call is to get the Fly More combo. You know, I know that. But here I am, I bought the DJI Mini SE on day one it was released here in New Zealand, the base model with just one battery. And hey, if I would do that, then other people out there may too. That could be you. Well, and I'm going to let you know why I chose that option. Okay, there's no secret here. It all just comes down to my user profile. I've had a drone before. I had the DJI Mavic, and before that I've had Phantoms. And they were big, heavy beasts. And the thing that appeals to me most about the Mini series is the size being a lot smaller. I know that instantly reduces the amount of times I can use it because here where we are in New Zealand, particularly Wellington, it does get windy quite a bit. But you know, look outside right now and there's no wind, so it'd be a perfect time to fly, so there will be opportunities to do so. Now, when it comes to the fact the DJI Mini SE is only 2.7K in the highest video resolution and 2.7K 25 or 30 at that, you have to drop down into the 1080p to get the 60 or the 50. You know, that was a consideration because I really do like the appeal of the 4K in the Mini 2. But for me, I use my DSLR and mirrorless cameras and I often capture video on them and they're set to 1080. They're set to 1080p. So I'm still using 1080p footage in my timelines and it's not necessary to get the 4K. When I looked at the price, it's quite a couple of $100 more for the 4K, and to be honest, I just don't need it. The other aspect that comes into all of this is the time that I fly. When I had a drone before, I used it a whole lot when I first got it and took it to places and used it in a variety of situations. But that all sort of steadily decreased over time until after a while it was just sitting there and eventually I sold it. Now that's not to say that I don't wish I still had it, because I do, and I would be flying it periodically. But for me, it's something I can do without. So it's not necessarily a must-have, it's a nice-to-have. And having said that, talking about the money, if I just spent a little bit more, I could have got the OcuSync 2.0 rather than the enhanced Wi-Fi. And of course, the range would just about double. It'd go out to about 10 Ks from around about 4 Ks here in New Zealand. Here in New Zealand, we use kilometers, but the calculation's the same at basically half the distance, even less than half the distance of what the Mini 2 will go. Even in saying that, when I had the Mavic Pro, it had a range of about 7 kilometers, and the only time I ever flew it out far was to see how far I could fly it out. Every other time I used drones for photography or video, it was actually pretty well in the vicinity of where I was, and certainly within the vicinity of a couple of kilometers, which I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to achieve with this drone. And if I can't, well, c'est la vie. Look, I also know it's probably quite ridiculous to buy the base model when just for a little increment more, like $150 more, I could have got extra batteries, extra props, all that stuff. But then again, it does increase the outlay at the start. It's still money I have to put into it. And I had the Mavic Pro and Phantoms, and I had multiple other batteries. But in reality, most of the jobs or the flights that I use the batteries for, I just use one battery. And then by then I'm kind of like, well, what am I doing now? And I would just pack up and that would be that. And the other batteries would just stay there. Of course, it's always good to have spare batteries if things don't work or the battery goes flat. But hey, if I turn up somewhere and the battery's flat, guess what? I won't be flying the drone. And look, I know I'm talking about all these trade-offs in this video, but I'm comfortable with that because everything in life's a trade-off. I mean, if I need a new car to get from here to the railway station and back every day, I'm not going to go down to the Volvo dealership and buy the most expensive thing on the lot. I'm probably going to grab something second-hand off Trade Me. Yeah, so that's me. I bought the DJI Mini SE with the 3-axis gimbal and the 2.7K video, 12 megapixel photos and the enhanced Wi-Fi for communication, not the OcuSync. I bought the base model, and I've talked about it a few times in this video. The thing that motivated me was the price. For an infrequent, non-essential drone user, the fact that I can pick up a DJI drone here in New Zealand for $500 is actually quite amazing. I mean, people will blow $500 in the pharmacy without even blinking, you know, at the hairdressers. The same amount of money I'm going to get a DJI drone that I can use for fun and for photos and for videos and whatever. And sure, the opportunities and the outcomes from using it may be restricted because of the specifications and the weight and the size and the weather conditions, but it doesn't matter because I'll get what I get and I won't what I won't. And if it's not good, I'll move it on and then think about getting something better next time. And hey, if you want to check out any other videos, particularly about photography, you can do so here. Otherwise, cheers for watching. We'll catch you next time. Bye.